Welcome students to the online study. We will see the explanation of poem number 2, Fire and Ice, written and composed by famous poet Robert Frost. Now Robert Frost is considered to be one of the famous and eminent American poet. His poetry includes many works, literary works. A Boy's Will, that was published in 1913, North of Boston, published in 1914, New Hampshire, published in 1923, A Further Range, published in 1936, Steeple Bush, published in 1947. So, Robert Frost had a big collection of poems, short stories. He was indeed a versatile writer. Now this poem, Fire and Ice, is one of his best poems that discuss about the end of this world. Let's see the central idea of the poem. Fire and Ice is an extremely compact little lyric. Not a syllable is wasted. The theme of the poem is the end of the world. The question about the end of the world is discussed in the poem. Some people, they think that this world will come to an end by fire, while others think that it will come to an end by ice. The poet decides that any of the two options would achieve its purpose sufficiently well. The poet shares the common belief that everything that exists will have its end. So whatever things exist on this planet, on this earth, will definitely come to an end. Now, the belief of people, how this planet, how this world will come to an end, is discussed in the poem. The style of the poem, this is written in lyrical style. It is compact. It is a very small poem. Not a single syllable is wasted. The aim is aphorism, brevity, and language is simple. The theme is highly sublime. Let's see the first stanza of this poem. Let me read out the first stanza of this poem. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. Let's have the explanation. It is certain that this world will come to an end. The poet shares the belief of the people that everything that exists now will end sooner or later. It will come to an end. But the belief of the people, how this world would come to an end, it is discussed in the stanza number 1. The poet deals with a very sublime subject. The end of the world. Sublime subject. It is a very terrifying subject as well. How the world would come into an end. In the first stanza, some people who believe that the world will end in fire. That means the poet talks about how the fire would destroy the world. But while some others believe that this world would end in ice. The poet here talks about two different beliefs regarding the end of this material world. Some say that this world would end in fire. The world will be reduced into a fireball in the end. That means our planet, our earth will be reduced into a fireball, into a ball of fire, and thus the life on earth will come to an end. There are others who think that this world will end in ice. Some others, they hold a belief that it is not by the fire. Fire will not destroy the earth completely, but the ice. The earth will be frozen and all kind of life will be, transformed or changed into death and destruction. In this stanza, the poet sides with those who believe that this world will come to an end in fire. He takes the favor of those people who strongly believe that this world would come to an end in fire. Now, why the reason? The poet links these two very powerful elements of the nature to human emotions and human behavior. The poet connects the two powerful elements of this nature, which are they? The fire and the ice, to the human behavior and human emotions. Fire is a symbol of human passion, or it is symbolical to human passion. Fire also stands for unbridled desire, uncontrolled passion of love and desire will be the cause of destruction of this world. Fire that is symbolical of unbridled desire, uncontrolled passion of love. And that would be the cause of destruction and end of this world. Uncontrolled fire and untamed passion or passionate desire will certainly bring an end of this world. It is said that fire is symbolical of uncontrolled passionate desire, untamed passionate desire that would bring destruction at large and destroy this world. The poet confessed that he himself has tasted of desire. That means he tasted that desire. So he is quite aware of the potential of unbridled passion. That means he knew about the unbridled, uncontrollable desire, extreme and intensified desire. So this desire could bring a big destruction to this world. He knew. And fire of love, of causing death and destruction. So this fire of passionate desire, unbridled desire, uncontrolled passion of love will cause death and destruction. Let's see the stanza number 2. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. That means the poet then says, if the world is supposed to end, if the end is sure and we are certain about the end of the world, then fire is not only the cause, or fire will not only end the earth. For that purpose, ice is also sufficient. Now, eyes represents hatred or cold. No doubt fire can bring an end of this world, but if this world has to be destroyed twice, then eyes can serve that purpose. That means fire is sufficient to destroy the world, then eyes is simultaneously sufficient to end this world, to serve that purpose. Eyes represents a dialectical emotion that is opposite to fire. Now, ice and fire both are not common. They are opposite. Fire is hot, ice is cold. They are extremely opposite in physical form as well as in their features. So, while fire represents the hot or unpassionate, uncontrolled passion, eyes represent the cold emotion of hatred. It represents hatred. This hatred is not the product of an outburst for revenge. See, this is not the outcome of revenge. If we did not like anyone, or anybody could have harmed us, hurted us, then we would take revenge. Now, this is not an outburst of revenge. On the other hand, it stands for cold and ice reasoning. It stands for cold and ice reasoning. The poet compares the nature of ice with hatred. Here, poet compares the nature of ice with hatred. Ice be numbs, so is cold and calculated reasoning. Ice be numbs, that is the quality of ice. If you keep ice on the part of your body, it will cause numbness. It benumbs the organs, or it benumbs the area. So similarly, the ice is calculated reasoning. Hate born of cold reasoning makes a man insensitive to feeling. That means, like ice benumbs the human body, ice or this cold reasoning can make a man insensitive to feelings. Hatred can make our minds numb. The ice is representation of hatred. As ice numbs our body, this hatred can numb our human mind. Cold thoughts and reasoning make us insensitive and cruel. This coldness that will make our mind or heart insensitive and cruel. So the people think that ice or hatred can be a great and strong cause of destruction of this world. It is therefore the people say that ice, which is the representation of hatred and coldness, that can cause strong and great destruction. Ice or hatred is sufficient to bring an end of this world. Ice or hatred is sufficient to bring an end of this world. That means if we think that fire can destroy the world, ice, on the other hand, is not insignificant. It is sufficient to destroy the world. So the poet here gives us two natural elements. Two natural elements. What are they? Fire and ice. Fire that represents unbridled desires, uncontrolled passion of love that can destroy this world, while eyes represents hatred and reasoning, cold reasoning, by which a large and great destruction can be caused to this